There we go. Let's jump right ahead and let's go into our first exciting panel of the day, which is once again called AI and Robotics, and is it good for humanity? So I'd like to first of all introduce the panel moderator, our good friend and host guest, Chris Dawe, which is the CEO of Effect.ai. So can we have a round of applause for Chris? Woo!
Good morning, Cyprus. Very, very happy to be here. You want to introduce everybody else?
I'll do the rest. I'll do the rest. So our next guest is our good friend, which I'm sure most of you in this room know him. He's the Cyprus celebrity, Mr. Pieri. Woo! We have a round of applause for Panis.
Thanks.
Hey, Panis. Welcome on stage.
Explain about the glasses.
The next guest that we have on the panel is Mr. Ioannis Menelaou, which should be somewhere here. Can we get, there we go. Round of applause. And our final guest on the panel, Mr. George. Panis?
I have a mistake with the panel.
There was a fourth panelist, and I feel really sorry, guys.
Panelist Nicolas Marco and Panayiotis Philimis. And the next panel. It's another panel.
Are we not missing one more panelist? This is it?
Ioannis is not in this panel.
You're on the next panel.
Mistake. The names are Panayiotis Philimis and Nicolas Marco. Come. Ioannis, you are the
Nicolas Marco, there we go. Sorry. And could we have a round of applause for Nicolas Marco? Sorry for the cock-ups. Sorry, Yanni. And Panayiotis Philippou. Thank you. One big applause for Panayiotis Philippou. And guys, I'll leave it to you, Chris.
All right, fantastic. All right, welcome everybody. This is a very exciting topic here. We've been talking about blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies, but we're getting into another era of technology. Some call it the fourth industrial revolution, and that technology is artificial intelligence, which has to do with automation and robotics. So today what we're going to be talking about is artificial intelligence and robotics. Is it good for humanity? So it's a pretty fun subject, and there's many opinions on it. So we'll get right into it. So first, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Chris. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a project called Effect.ai. We're an open, decentralized, and democratic network for artificial intelligence development built on blockchain technology. That's a little bit about myself, and I'm just going to let the panelists introduce themselves one by one. So we'll start to my left.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, my name is Panis Pieri. You can find me on Facebook. We have RiseTech Media. 3 years ago, we created disruptcyprus.com. Also, this event is live streamed via Disrupt Cyprus right now. It was the first innovation startup blog in Cyprus. We're scaling up with opening Disrupt Europe and other projects. And we are a media company. We help also companies, startups to grow. Pretty much, thanks for inviting me to the panel discussion. I think let's take it to Nicolas.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicolas Marco. I am the CTO of Electric Consulting. I'm a software engineer with a specialty in AI. I've been doing this AI engineering for over 8 years. We now consult big companies on AI and blockchain projects. I've worked on retail apps, social media, AI on social media, and AI on autonomous cars. And I'm happy to discuss any blockchain-related progress on this part. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Panayiotis Philimis, and I'm the CEO and founder of SARIC. We're a technology company with one of the best R&D private centers in the country. We also have a Gravity Incubator, which is a technology incubator for startups. And as a company, we provide services from idea to commercialization for startups and SMEs. My background is mechanical engineering and a PhD in AI, but the last 10 years I've been more focused on robotics.
Super. All right. Let's give a hand of applause for our panelists here. Okay, so we're going to kick this off. We're going to keep it a little bit fun and simple. If you've ever used Siri on your iPhone or browsed through Netflix movie suggestions, you're probably using artificial intelligence a lot more than you actually realize you're doing. And that's kind of the point of artificial intelligence. It's to run in the background of our lives to help us accomplish things and do things a lot easier. But that makes understanding what artificial intelligence is and what it's not a little bit complicated. So I'd like to start this off with asking the question, what the hell is AI anyways?
I can help answer that. Sorry, Pani. In our world, we don't call it AI. We find that term a bit funny. We call it statistical model learning or machine learning. It's just applied statistics from our term. And if it sounds futuristic or is an app that it hasn't been done, we call it AI. Just people think it's more hyped up. But when it's become standard or you're part of your life, it's just machine learning. It's just an algorithm or a black box that you use, and you don't care anymore about it. That's it.
Fantastic.
Okay, I would definitely agree. Just to add to what Nicolas said, AI, it's also a bit, the marketing a bit hype. Yeah, calling machine learning, statistical modeling, a bigger name on artificial intelligence. And at the end of the day, what is intelligence? I mean, yeah. I think maybe Panikos has something to add.
Yeah, basically, for me, being, let's say, more specialist in robotics, I will say AI is like replacing activities that a human can do, and now we have computers that can do that. And this is basically the more simplest way of AI. But looking at AI, it has, as I understand, a lot more like explanations and scientific explanations, separate them like narrow and general AI and so on. But for me, it's like things that the human can do, and now we have machines doing them. That's AI.
I think that's a great way to sum it up. Artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science that builds with analytics and teaches machines to do and think like humans should do. So we're at the infancy stage of artificial intelligence, but things are picking up pretty fast, and it's becoming pretty fun. Okay, we all know AI and robotics are gaining mass adoption in many different industries. AI and robotics are going to be able to automate numerous systems and processes in the near future. What are some of the most popular industries that we are already seeing adopt and implement artificial intelligence and automation? Some of the key industries.
All right.
Yeah, start. No.
Okay. So the big push right now is with autonomous driving, which I have worked for a couple of years. The thing is that the plant still runs on trucks. So if truckers go on a strike for 2 days, most people will starve in big cities. And the big companies like Amazon, they just deployed their tracking services along with some subsidiaries, robotic companies, as well as the popular meme of war. So these are the biggest developments right now. Kalashnikov, the company that makes the weapons, has just not just a couple of years on deployed the first autonomous agents with guns and trucks. So that the other commercial retail stuff is just for pushing on the research, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Anything else to add?
Panikos?
Yes. I mean, industries that will actually has like robotics and AI nowadays, we see it in transportation a lot. I think it grows up also in other sectors in the future, like agri-technology, health technologies. I will say it's one of the most important ones. But mostly I will say what we have seen the last couple of years, it was like in the transportation industry especially. And it's growing up also in other industries like fintech and so on. But it made, let's say, a bigger impact last couple of years in transportation, I would say.
Fantastic. All right, now we're going to get into a little bit of fun here. So fast forward, and this is in the name of the subject. So is it good for humanity? Fast forward 5 to 10 years, let's say. What can we expect in regards to human job loss due to automation and artificial intelligence? Well, what does that future, 5 to 10 years, look like in the job market for humanity?
Okay, I will start and you can come. Lost jobs, in the USA, especially in the manufacturing area, we have a huge loss of jobs. But in general, also there is statistic that AI in the future, in the next 5 to 20 years, it will generate more jobs, different kind of jobs, new jobs that we don't know. And here is where also the education system comes in place to all the countries, even in Cyprus or even internationally, to come and redefine itself, to create the future robotics and AI experts that will be able to take all these new jobs that are coming. For sure, the loss of the jobs will create uncertainty in the political scene and etc. of each country. But it's something that via education you'll be able to manage. For example, in Cyprus, you are seeing where I'm wearing a hat about Robotics Cyprus. Robotics Cyprus is a big event organized by the Cyprus Computer Society. 200 people we were in Estonia on November. Educational robotics and AI. We had more than 800 teams competing in the competition, 5,000 coming to the event. These are big numbers. Things are changing also in Cyprus and other countries from bottom up, unfortunately. Not so on a governmental level, but from bottom up. But yeah, maybe Nicolas wants to...
Okay, so the economics of automation in this manner is that our companies will be forced to use AI or machine learning to automate jobs, because foreign companies will do so and there will be no competitive advantage for us. So we will be forced to do so. Easy jobs, not say easy, let's like formulaic jobs, that is take A from B, do C, add X and push a paper next to you, then these jobs will be lost. Everything will be digitalized, and these jobs will now call them menial, but there are a lot of people making good money out of them. This will be lost. Jobs like auditors, part of the law system will be automated, and part of the public sector will have to shrink because it's just paper pushing. A lot of good jobs will be lost. There will be some political pressure because of that, and I'm not sure at this point, because we are now going through the exponential stage, if they will be able to create these new niche jobs that will be need to fill the gap. So I'm guessing some kind of political reformation will have to happen.
Yeah, I mean, looking at what statistics say, like in 10 years, we're going to have 800 million jobs lost. And approximately not all of them will be recovered, back. So at the moment, if we look at, let's say, in 5 to 10 years, which jobs will be, let's say, more affected, it will start like from banks, cashiers. It will go to, like, for example, now we see taxi drivers. They're not going to be existent in 5 to 10 years. There are many companies that are developing autonomous taxis at the moment, although you don't see a lot of them, maybe 1 or 2. But there are a lot coming, so this area will definitely be lost. Also, in the agriculture technology, I will say we'll see much, much more. There's been a very big thrive the last 5 to 10 years. And it's
in Israel as well.
Sorry?
In Israel as well. They're
Yes.
pushing a lot on this.
Yeah. In the construction industry, we'll see more robotics going in. So we'll be, in 10 years, we'll be looking buildings that's going to be completely robotized. And of course, the basic industry. So the main sector that will be affected, as also Panis said, is the workers in the factories. That is a fact. The next 15 years, maybe 20 or 30% of the job lost, it will be definitely from factories and workers. And as far as AI, we'll see a lot more towards the care, the healthcare, I can imagine, because the elderly population is growing high. There is a prediction in 20 to 30 years, it's going to reach almost 30%. So there is actually a lot of technology and a lot of startups in this area, and we'll see more within the next 5 to 10 years, especially artificial intelligence driving in.
Super. Okay, well, maybe not so super with the loss of all these jobs, but good riddance to jobs like factory jobs. So robots can surely take that over. But that leads to the next question. When you think of the future role of humanity and these humans, and when AI replaces their jobs, how do we manage the shift and displacement of those humans? What do they do? So we've suggested that this will open up other job opportunities, but maybe what does that look like 5 to 10 years down the road? What is the role of humans in society, in job markets, and what does that potentially look like?
Well, the popular version is that we are in a junction, and either we're going to utopia or the technologies, the dystopia. So at this point, not at this point, in a couple of years, there has to be some kind of political decision on what to do about this. Currently, the pressure in Cyprus is not so much because the adoption is very low. But as we are lagging behind, the change will be much, much faster. For example, in the USA, even middle-class jobs are affected now. Jobs like financing or Wall Street bankers and all that. Up until now, it's being like a tool that you could use to boost up your abilities to become more efficient. But now it's just crippling into everything. So I'm kind of a pessimistic in this regard because I've seen it happen and the political party is slow to react. But when it does, it will be massive, in my guess. The role of humans will be to be creative, to make the demands, to make the niche, to make the custom. All the other stuff, I'm hoping in the utopia part will be AI.
Yeah, I want to add here is what I've said also before, education. It's the only thing that actually you need to take all these workers. You said, okay, it's good, AI will replace that, it automates, it optimizes, I agree. But you need to think all of these workers, what is happening with them when they finish. I mean, you need to take them, all these guys, they have creativity, they have skills, they have, they're good on fixing, doing stuff. So you can take these workers, educate them, and become, and make them the future engineers, that they will be fixing the robots, anyhow, or doing other jobs. So it's not a wonder that, for example, Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, now he sold the Alibaba and he's creating a school that actually does not have, by putting billions on this project, and does not have, it does not have any grades or anything, but it will only promote creativity, imagination, problem thinking, because these are the skills that we will need for the next 20 years.
Just to add, because I completely agree with Panis, education, I think one of the next big disruption, it will be education, and it's going to be related with exactly the loss of the jobs. And I think there will be a lot of startups out there in the next 5 to 10 years that will drive the market of how can you really change people from one job to the other. It's by learning, it's by looking at their skills and how do you make them and how do you identify their skills and how you adapt them in new jobs. And that will be, I think, one of the most disruptive things that we'll see in the 5-10 years. And it's training people to be more multi-skills and taking advantage, in a good sense, the pure abilities of a person, because sometimes even themselves, they don't see them. So, yeah.
Fabulous. All right. Moving on to the next question. So, with blockchain and cryptocurrencies, we continually talk about regulation on several different levels and subjects. Does AI development, and I think we've touched on this a little bit, AI development need regulation? And if so, in what capacity and when do we start talking about this and implementing some regulation on artificial intelligence?
There have been discussions on AI regulation. it's both a political issue and engineering issue. Okay, how do you enforce this? You pretty much don't. You pretty much can't. My guess is that if a cyber-physical system with AI or not, like a car, hits the physical world, it needs to have some kind of regulation. I understand people here are kind of the libertarian leaning. I understand that. But I wouldn't want anyone of you running around without a license to drive, and you can respect that neither a software should. We've seen that they are pretty safe, but again, I've seen how models are being rolled out into the open without any regard to human life or any regard to bias or any regard to pretty much anything. Just take out that quick bug. So if it hits the physical world, it should come with a license. If it's purely software to software, I don't really care. But yeah, some people will care about that too. So you can't pretty much license everything because then you stagnate innovation. But I draw the line on the physical world.
Can I add something also on the regulation? I think it's, I used to be an expert in standardization and regulation, but mostly about machines and robots and things like that. And I have identified that without regulation, a technology cannot progress very fast. And it actually comes from also from the big companies. Just to give you an indication about robotics, in humanoid robotics, there is only one standard, and this has to do with robots for companions at home. Only one standard. So there is a huge work that needs to be done in standardization, and I can imagine regulation for AI. And it will be very key in how fast this technology can reach the world. So.
Just to mention here, because I was invited, I was in Vienna in December, the biggest ICT conference of the European Commission, and they were discussing one of the major issues, it was AI ethics. There was a lot of panel discussions, and actually, okay, Asia and USA on this part, they're not so strict, but again, Europe now is trying to create a plan and a roadmap how you can implement ethics on AI. And after we had, different, especially with Twitter, some AI assistants that got out there, and it went crazy, the situation, with posts, etc. And this is something that actually Europe wants to be on the forefront. As always, regulation, it seems that Europe is trying either to lead that or Asia, USA, or other countries are more lenient to this. So it depends. If you're building an AI, you decide where you want to go and have your headquarters. So a more unregulated environment, or a more regulated, that I believe more regulated in the long term will be much better. Maybe in the short term, you might want to go into unregulated in order to do the more crazy tests, things like this. But in the long term, if you want to create a business, or you need to have regulation. This is how the humans work at the end of the day.
As it is now, it's completely unregulated, from my regard. Yeah. Okay. You think you got your license to run that, autonomous car or help assist on your Tesla, but they auto-update it through air. So what do you do there? Is it licensed? Is it audited? No, they don't. Internally they have the best intentions. I'm sure they don't want to kill anybody, but they can't know. And when someone dies, inevitably, we are billions of people and a trillion of interactions, someone will die. Who is to blame there? That is the question. Who is to blame? And with software, it's very tricky to point at someone.
All right, very insightful. Okay, we're going to end this. I really wanted to get into the robot apocalypse and whether AI is going to manifest into some kind of an entity that's going to take over mankind. That's a whole different conference, I believe. But we will touch a little bit on a couple questions. So as I love that subject, I'm gonna ask you guys if you guys could possibly predict. The robot apocalypse, if it does happen, this means robots and AI have become smarter than humans. So we're talking about the singularity. I was wondering if you could predict maybe the time when we're going to see that. Is it a few years away when AI becomes as smart as humans and can start learning at rapid paces? Or are we potentially hundreds of years off of singularity net? And I will have a follow-up question with that. So predictions of singularity.
For me, I will be very quick. We're far, far away from any singularity. I don't know if that where is going to be happen or not. All the other things that you see, because I'm a journalist also, and I know how marketing stuff are written in media blogs, etc. Most of the guys, I mean, they just want to create more buzz and we're far behind from any singularity event, but I think the other two panelists can explain more on that.
Okay, fair answer. I tend to agree. If we think, if you knew what machine learning is, you will have nothing to be afraid on the singularity issue. You have other things to afraid, and you will be very well to be afraid of them. But regarding a singularity, we are collecting the data, we are feeding the system the data. The system is not autonomous in the world, doesn't learn anything. It doesn't have any purpose on its own. We program the purpose. We program how we call it, the objective loss function. So the system doesn't care. It doesn't have any moral compass. It doesn't have any target on its own. It's nothing. It's just the examples we give it and the model we set up. In that regard, I don't think a singularity as we have it will be in play anytime soon. What we have to be afraid is that you could be able to spin off a robot with your will in it at any moment, like you could spin an AWS server, and that could do your bidding. So again, hell is other people, not robots. And singularity is far, 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 far away, if ever coming.
I will be a bit more precise on that. I think singularity, having the humanoid robots reaching the level of humans, it will be my prediction within the next 30 years, 30 to 40 years.
Human-like or conscious? That is the singularity question.
I think it will have both, or let's say near to it. I think technology runs much faster than we think, looking at the history back. But I think I'm a very positive guy, so I will say whatever comes with technology, AI and robotics, is very positive for humanity. Looking at the history of humankind, if you see how we progress and how civilized we are or how humane we are, it's because of technology. So if you make a graph of like how humane we are and how technology goes on the y-axis, it's going to be a straight line. So although you may have some ups and downs and wars that may happen or whatsoever, the end result is like humanity is becoming better with technology, and especially AI and robotics. It will be, I will say, that one of the key technologies that will drive, humanity to go outside the planet to other continents, to other galaxies, and so on. Yeah.
Fantastic. Very, very insightful. So the follow-up question you guys covered, it always happens when you talk about singularity, then it comes down to, is AI going to be good or bad to us? And it sounds like a pretty positive outlook for the future of artificial intelligence. So that will wrap it up for us and this panel. Please give the panelists a round of applause. Thank you very much.
By the way, I forgot to explain the glasses. It's snapshot spectable, so I want you all to say in 1, 2, 3, because I want to take a 10-second video. You'll excuse me, Bogdan. You know, I like to do this. We love robots. 1, 2, 3.
We love robots.
Yeah, okay. You need to wake up a bit, guys.
Cool. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, guys.